Welcome, collectors of all ages. This is Mike with Jayhawker Vintage Cards with another SGC reveal video. Now, this is my 5th SGC reveal video since I started doing this not quite a month ago. And this is probably going to be my last one for a while. I don't have any more coming back from SGC. They've been taking a little bit longer than advertised, but still nothing like PSA. And so here's my box. This is a 23 card submittal. There should be some pretty good ones in here. All the cards are from the 1960s with the exception of one 53 Bowman. And I would say the majority of my pre-grades for these were mid-grade. There might be a couple low ones, maybe some 2s, some 3s. I think most of the cards in this submittal are going to be 4, 5s, and 6s, and I'm hoping to get some 7s. So we will see how this goes. It's always exciting to see the grade. It's more like a game to me. I'm not really out for the most bang for the buck, if you will, or try to get the most value. But hey, let's quit talking and let's get right to these and see what the grades are. Okay, we're ready to show some cards from my SGC submittal number 5. But before I show you cards from this submittal, I want to show you one from the last one. So if you saw that video, you've seen this card. I'm super excited about it, but I don't know what to do about it. So it is this beautiful 1956 Topps white back Roy Campanella. You can see it's graded a 7. This is the highest graded 56 Topps white back by SGC. I think the next highest is a 5 or 5.5. So I threw it out there. What do you value? I mean, how do you value something if there's no comps? And I've had, 4 or 5 people tell me what they think the value of this card is. A couple people mentioned that there was a PSA 7 that sold a number of years ago for X amount of money. I've also had 6 people now reach out to ask if I'd be willing to sell this. At this time, probably not. I mean, there's always a price on something, right? I just don't know how to value it, so I would want to be comfortable before I sell this, knowing what a good value would be. But anyway, that's a beautiful card. So if anybody knows, anybody has suggestions what they would value something like this to be, please shoot me an email or comment below. All right, let's get on to the new submittal. Just so happens to be the first card is a 53 Bowman Roy Campanella. This one I'm predicting to get a 3. Okay, they gave me a 4. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love 53 Bowmans. Let me just, they're beautiful. Just stunning cards. Absolutely love that set. Wish I had a ton more of them, but I don't. Next card is a 1960 Fleer Big Train, Walter Johnson, born in my home state. I actually went to a KU NCAA tournament game versus Illinois several years ago and took my kids, and on the way down we happened to pass right by Walter's birthplace, and it was kind of a creepy long road. You couldn't see the house from the main road, and a little bit too freaky for my kids to want to go see it, so we passed. But I wish I would have. At least I drove past where it was at, but we didn't actually go up and look at it. Anyway, this one I am predicting to get a 7. All right, and that's what they got me. Well, that's a pretty card. Beautiful card. Next card is a 1961 Fleer Jimmy Fox. This one I'm predicting to get a 7. Okay. Another pretty card. Next card is another 61 Fleer. This is a Walter Johnson, and I'm predicting this one to get a 7. All right, they gave me a 6 on this one. Okay, 1962 Topps. This is a card, if you watched my last video, this was part of that lunch sack of cards that my dad found. Most of the cards in there were 61 Topps. And there was, I can't remember how many total, maybe 20 or so 62 Topps. I've sold some of those over the years. I've kept a couple that you'll see here. But this one I'm predicting to get a 4. Okay. I thought the centering on this was okay. I thought the corners were a little bit too soft to get anything more than a 4. They must really like this one. So 5.5. All right. I've got to write some of these down here. Okay, next card is another card from that beautiful sack of cards. This is 1962 Topps Yogi Berra. This one I'm predicting to get a 6. Okay, 6.5. That's actually a pretty nice looking card when I look at that. Beautiful. This is another 1962 Topps. This was not in that bag. This one I picked up, I could not tell you how many eons ago, but it's in beautiful shape. 1962 Topps. I think this is a high number, obviously. Bob Gibson, I am predicting this one to get a 7, and I would be thrilled if I got that grade. Okay. 7.5. That card is just sharp. A little bit off center. I think if the centering would have been a little bit better, left to right, I would have predicted an 8, and they probably would have gave it to me. Super sharp card. All right, next card is a card I don't have too many of these. This is a 1963 Jello Mickey Mantle. Now, I've never been big on the Jello cards. Most of the ones I have are about the shape of this one that I'm predicting to get a 2. A lot of people collect those. They're just not my thing. But I happened to pick this one up a long time ago. Not in the greatest shape, of course, but that's why I'm predicting it to be a 2. So let's see what they gave me. Okay, I tell you what, I think they're being pretty generous. I know there's a crease in there, and there's some of that dreaded snow that I didn't think about at the time I would have got this as a kid. But that's still a nice card, and I'll definitely take a 3. I didn't think it was good enough for a 3, but hey, better to be wrong that way than the other, right? Okay, next card is a nice 1963 Topps Frank Robinson. This one I'm predicting to get a 5. Okay, 5.5. And I'm noticing in this submittal, I've got, let's see, I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that have the dreaded 0.5 grade. Oh, sometimes I wish they just round up. I mean, the centering on that card. That's a nice card. Okay, next card. Let's kind of change it up and throw a little football in here. Lenny Cool. This is a 1964 Topps football. Len Dawson. Pretty nice card. I'm predicting this one to get a 6. Boy, that blue is really nice. All right, let's see. 6? Okay. Pretty nice. Okay, next card is going to be a 64 Topps Willie Stargell. I really like the looks of this card, just because I'm not a fan of the 63 rookies, the floating heads. So I think, the Pete Rose rookies pretty ugly. I think the 63 Stargell's pretty ugly. But I think the 64 Rose in this card here are way better looking. I mean, they're just better looking cards. This one I'm predicting to get a 5. And it's 6. Good. I like looking at these guys because we know where their career is going to go. But at this time, they had no idea how their career would turn out. So that's one thing that's kind of cool. Look at these early cards of superstars. Okay, next card is a 65 Topps Bob Clemente, which we know is Roberto. This one's got some issues, so I'm predicting it to get a 3. The color on that kind of reminds me of the 64 football Lynn Dawson. Maybe they decided to use this for the color for the back of the 65. Who knows? Anyway, this one I'm predicting to get a 3 and a 4. I'm thinking whoever is grading these cards, they're being pretty generous. I like it. Better than the other way. Okay, next card is a 66 Topps Pete Rose. This is one of the first vintage cards I ever got. I got a bunch of Pete Rose cards when I was starting out collecting. This one I'm predicting to get a 5. It's a little off center in the back. And a 4. Okay. So this one they didn't like quite as much as my pre-grade. It is a little bit off center, a little bit diamond cut. Love that card. Man, he had some good cards in the 60s. Really good cards in the 60s. Okay, next card here is a 66 Topps Bob Gibson that I'm predicting to get a 6. And 6.5. Centering is beautiful on that one. Really nice card. Next card is a 66 Hank Aaron. This one I'm predicting to get a 4. And a 3. It's a little off center. There might be a little bit of a crease on this one. I can't remember. Maybe I was writing it down. I didn't think about that, but my guess is there's probably a crease in here that I didn't calculate in my brain when I pre-graded this one as a 4. Registration is beautiful though. Nothing wrong with the 3 of Hank Aaron ever. Okay. Speaking of Hank Aaron, here's another one. 67 Topps Hank Aaron. This one I'm predicting to get a 4. And it is. This is a pivotal card for me for this reason. After I bought this card, I can't tell you how many years ago. It was after... Oh, it was kind of in between of when I wasn't doing a lot of collecting. I went to a show and I found this one, and when I was a kid, the most important thing were the corners, right? And as I've gotten older, my taste has moved more towards centered cards, well-centered cards. So I wouldn't, and I got this card raw, obviously, because I sent off to SGC. I would not purchase this card now, unless I got like a price I absolutely couldn't resist. Because I like the cards that are more centered. So again, this would be an example. You could find this as a 4, and you could find another 4 or a 3 that's got really good centering, and I would choose that card over this one. But it's a pretty nice card other than the centering's really off. But yeah, after that card, when I got home, I was looking at it, it's like, I like the centering. Something's not right about that one, and I just try not to get off-center cards if I can help it, unless it's just one I can't, you know, if it's a kind of a grail card and that's the only way I'm going to afford it, you know, might be a little off-center, I'll get it, but I'd still rather just wait and get a well-centered. Just be patient, right? Be patient. Okay, next card. This is a pretty one. 67 tops, Joe Morgan. Great second baseman. Really undervalued in the hobby, in my opinion. And this one I'm predicting to get a 7, I think. Let me see. Yes. So let's see. Bam. All right. An 8. Super sharp card. Really like that one. Okay, next card is 1968 Johnny Bench rookie. This one has some, oh, it's got some fuzzy corners. So on this one, I'm predicting to get a 3. You can see the centering on the back's not the greatest either. Okay, well, hey, you know, they're being generous. I don't think that's a 4. There's definitely some stuff going on with the corners, as you can see. But I'll take it. I'll take a 4. Okay. Moving along, getting towards the end. Next card is a 1968 Topps Pete Rose. Another one of those early Pete Rose cards in my collection, which is why I probably didn't mind that was off center because the rest of the card was okay, but it doesn't have the greatest of corners either. So this one I'm predicting to get a 5. Okay, a 4. As you can see, there's a corner issue up there on this one. Way off center. But again, another good looking Pete Rose card. Okay, next card is a guy that Bill James used to say if they would ever pitch to him, he would hit 600 home runs. I don't know about that. He could be correct. Would have helped if he would have played. Man, he was hurt a lot, and he still could slug the ball. The great Willie McCovey, stretch. This one is a really nice card. I'm predicting to get a 7. Got a 7. Pretty card. Really like that one. Next one is a 1969 Roberto Clemente. Does anybody know why? Topps, I mean, did he go by Bob back then, or did Topps choose to just put Bob? Let me know. I know there's enough of you Clemente collectors out there. Throw some comments and let me know. I've actually never researched that story to figure out why. Anyway, this one I'm predicting to get a 6. All right. Pretty card. Some of the 69s look really good. They're just really clean. Clean design. Okay, only a couple left. Thank you for hanging in. This is a 1969 Topps Johnny Bench. A little bit better shape than the rookie that I just showed. This one I'm predicting to get a 6. And 5.5. God, isn't that just an awesome card? Some players just have some awesome cards, and then some players just don't have very good cards through their run. Nolan Ryan has some great cards. Johnny Bench kind of has some outstanding cards, and then a couple of cards that just aren't real good. This is one of the real good ones, I think. Love this card. Looks awesome with the color contrast between the blue circle and then the red uniform, and you gotta love those trophies, right? Those are awesome. Nice card. Okay, last but not least is a rough Reggie Jackson rookie. Not as nice as the one I had in the previous submittal. This one I'm predicting to get a 4. And they just had to give me a 0.5 just to let me know that they're out there. And they have the power, right? Yeah. Depends. I don't give them the power because it's not about the value for me, but I do get a giggle. This one had a little bit back to more than 0.5 grades. So let me write down these last few and calculate them up. I'll stick a couple of these out here just to have you guys look at something while I'm rambling on. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm tabulating this submittal to see how my pre-grades went, basically. I've always, so far, had a pretty good track record of being right or off by just, one. And I think this is going to be the case that I got some very generous grades this time. I'm telling you, I got a really easy grader. Okay. All right, so for this submittal, 23 cards, 11 came back with a higher grade than I predicted. I think most of those were, I think there might have been one that was 1.5 higher. I don't know if I had any 2 better than I predicted. But that's pretty good. I'm normally harder on my cards than probably some people are. I think a lot of people submit cards that they just think are better than what they end up being graded. And they may actually be. Again, grading is so subjective, so don't get too hung up on what grades you get back. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Probably more for ultra modern, but I don't even mess with that stuff in terms of sending it off for grading. So, but for vintage, I'm just grading for all the other reasons everybody else talks about. Okay, so 11 came back better than my grade. 6 came back exactly as I predicted they would be. And then 6 came back worse, which is a little bit higher percentage than I think in my other earlier submittals, but that's still pretty good. 17 out of the 23 I was either right on or they gave me a better grade, and 11 better than what I had predicted I'll take that all the time. Maybe I just need to be a little bit more lenient on my grades. But hey, this is a blast. I hope you enjoyed this. I've got some ideas now that Strongsville videos are kind of running the course. I might post a little bit more content so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. If this is your first time watching, please like and subscribe if you liked it. Drop me a comment what you think about the submittals, any questions that you have, especially if you're new and just starting out like I am. It's good to everybody be supportive of each other, and just remember to keep on collecting and be proud of your collection.